Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the video. So the stock market rally continued this week with a very strong move higher once again. In this video, I'm going over what to expect next from the broad market, including the top 5 trade ideas that I'm watching along with that as well. As always, there are timestamps in the description. Now let's go ahead and get into it. So starting out by taking a look at the S&P 500 using the SPY chart, the market had a large gap up on Monday after news of the tariff deal with China came out over the weekend, and then essentially for the rest of the entire week, the market continued to grind higher. So taking a look at the daily chart, the big breakout from last week was triggered by the reclaim above the 200-day moving average, which is now at 574.4, and the 576.2 key level, which had been the top of the trading range since the second week of March. I would consider buyers in full control of the trend as long as above those levels, and for dips to get bought as long as it holds. Something important to note though is price has gotten pretty overbought, which is shown well with the 4-hour RSI, which indicates we will likely get a pullback very soon. Price never just moves up in a straight line, so the expectation moving forward should be that we see some type of large bull flag or consolidation build out next before potential further upside, or we see a pullback, which should be considered a healthy pullback as long as it holds above the 200-day moving average and 576.2. If that plays out, the market would be on watch to establish that next higher low before possible continuation higher. Now quickly going over the other key levels to watch on the SPY. On the upside, the next key resistances above are at 594.5, 597.5, 600, and 606. And on the downside, key supports are at 590, 585.3, 580, 576.2, and then the 200-day moving average. So now getting into some trade ideas, and one thing to keep on close watch in the week ahead are small caps. So small caps can be tracked with the Russell 2000 index, ticker symbol IWM, and something to note on the chart is it did have that large gap up on Monday with the rest of the market, though it did spend the rest of the week building out a consolidation between 205.5 support and 210 resistance, and it did not have a straight grind up like the S&P and Nasdaq did. Because of this, it is not as extended as the other indexes, so there's potential for an immediate larger move here. For example, maybe the S&P starts building out a consolidation or pulls back, and during that we could see the rally broaden out and small caps get going if sentiment continues to stay overwhelmingly bullish. 210 is the big level to watch on IWM. If it's able to break and hold above it, watch for a larger upside move to play out, with the next big target levels above at 215, then the 200-day moving average at about 216, then 224.5 to 225 as the next big resistance zone above there. Now getting some individual names, starting out with the one that we went over last week as well, an AST Space Mobile, ticker symbol ASTS. So last week we went over the tight consolidation that had built out below 26, and above it could trigger upside towards $28 plus. That move did play out, though not super cleanly, as it essentially spent the entire week building out another consolidation, this time holding 25.4 to 26 as support and roughly 28 as resistance. I continue to think that this stock will make a large and sustained move at some point, and next week I'll be watching for a break and hold above 28 to potentially trigger the start of that move. If it's able to break and hold above it, it can target that swing high at 29.05, and then above there would target 30 to 30.6, and then 33.6 next above there. Once again, this can be playable with a tight stop loss, slightly below 25.4 or so, or it can be a breakout buy on a break and hold above 28. DoorDash, ticker symbol DASH, is a setup with very explosive potential as well, as if we take a look at the long-term chart, it is potentially building out the handle of the multi-year cup and handle pattern, and if we zoom into it within the handle, it is potentially built out an inverse head and shoulders pattern. The trendline resistance at about 206 can be on watch to act as a potential breakout trigger, which above there can target the swing high at 215.4, and then much larger upside would open up above there. Some key supports to watch include the $200 key psych level, as well as the 50-day moving average at about 186, which keeps immediate upside in play as long as above there. ASML is another close watch for me in the week ahead, as semiconductors have gotten hot once again, and this is a very well-defined setup. So if we zoom into the chart, the key long-term pivot level at 766, along with the previous gap fill at 779.35, have acted as key resistance and the top of the trading range all of this year. Breaking above that zone has potential to trigger a large range breakout, and there's a chance for it to put in a higher low here off the 200-day moving average, which is currently at 742.1. So this can be playable with a tight stop loss below the 200-day moving average, or it can be a breakout buy above the top of the range, 779.35, and play with a tight stop loss back below 766 or so to keep risk tight. AMD is another semiconductor stock to keep on close watch into next week, as it is also at an important decision point. Last week, it gapped above the key resistance and top of the range since February, which is at 114.35 to 116.5, and that zone now becomes key to hold in order to keep this breakout intact and immediate upside in play. If it's able to hold above it, it can target a move back to 121.75, and then above there would target the 200-day moving average, which is currently at about 127, with potential for much larger upside above there. And this one can be played with a tight stop loss back below 114.35. So that is everything that I'm watching for in the week ahead. I would be expecting slower price action or a pullback to start to cool off this recent move, but overall the market is obviously leaning super bullish, and the focus should continue to be long trade ideas. Thank you guys for watching, and for anybody interested in joining the private Discord chat, that is the first link down in the description to get my personal trade alerts, nightly watch lists, and answer your questions you guys have in there. Good luck trading the week ahead, and I'll catch you all next time, and peace out.